Welcome to Speed Scene Live TV, the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, Hedman Hustler Headers, M&H Tires, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and thefote.com. With your hosts, Diana-mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, Alex Rogio, Bob Beck, Bryant Layton, with Donnie Couch and Dar Hawthorne.
Oh, yeah, and it's another Tuesday night. Yes, we are live in studio. I am Diana-mite. This is Scott Lucky Hudson here to my left.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. We've got Bob Beck over there. And, of course, Bruce Barker handling the controls.
But of course,
Well,
I just want to point out, Diana-mite, look at that image, viewers.
Where?
Isn't that beautiful?
Man.
we got the cameras right, huh?
Yeah.
This must be a good color to wear. I'll try to stick to darker colors.
I like the curly hair.
Do you like the curly hair, not the straight hair?
No.
What do they call this? The just something looked? Oh.
That must be why I like it.
So that's how that works. All righty then.
Yes. Well, you know what? We want to let everybody know that in this video, watch close.
Okay.
He's out of the groove.
No.
Oh, yes. He was trying to catch up with the other racer, but that's not the way to do it. This is Derek Kramer, and this video is courtesy of NHRA. Let everybody know that the NHRA finals will be this weekend at Pomona. That's November. Oh, well, not this weekend.
The next weekend.
Next weekend. Yes. Pomona, the 13th through the 16th. Go to NHRA.com for information and tickets. Tonight, we're going to have Hot Rod Bob. Yes, he's going to bring us one of the true drag racing phenomenons, the star, TV Tommy Ivo.
Ooh.
And you know what? Let's see. That driver got out. He's okay.
He's okay. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. What do you got there, Diana-mite?
Put me on the camera. Look at this. You know what? We are going to let Tommy talk all about some of the wonderful things he has, and he's brought in studio. He has some props for us, right, Lucky?
Well, that's right. That's his famous 4-engine race car that is so historic. Now, Derek Kramer was trying to qualify right here. That's why he should have lifted. He even admitted afterwards. He said it was my mistake. He didn't blame the track prep or nothing like that. He just got out of the groove. He didn't want to lift because it was his last chance to qualify for the NHRA national event at Las Vegas, and he just wouldn't get out. But, hey, speaking of qualifying, we have entered the March meet online at thefote.com, and I spoke to one of the Bowsers this last weekend at Las Vegas. The race is now half full.
What month is this, Lucky?
This is the March meet. So if you want to race at the March meet,
I said, what month is this? This is November.
So if you want to go to the March meet, go to thefote.com. Buy your racer entry online. When you get to the track, they'll just hand you the tech card. Now, you can also enter your spectator ticket. Mm-hmm. You can get everything you need, your crew passes at thefote.com. So do it now. Don't wait, because this race is going to sell out.
Don't I get a better pit spot if I buy my ticket sooner?
You do. You certainly do. You certainly do. And Bruce, tell us about Kenny Youngblood.
I'm so entranced by the man. Look at that poor car. Glad he's okay. Don't forget about that Kenny Youngblood free giveaway he's got going on. It's worth over $5,500. Cha-ching! All you got to do is sign up for his free Fuel Coupe website. Sign up there and get on it. www.fuelcoupe.com. Now, we want to let you know, Match Race Madness at Verona. That's the track just a little south of the Speed Scene Live studios. That's coming up November 29th, the Thanksgiving weekend, so you can let your car work off a few of the calories that you had packed on. And so that'll be happening. Bring the family. Come on down to the track. Heads Up Racing Saturday. Next week, we got the Wilson Racing team on the show to talk about the race. Because what's the Wilson connection there, Lucky? Are you?
They're going to be racing me. Mo Wilson painted my Nova, and he's one of the best paint and bodywork guys in California. His son Randy's driving the car.
And I hear you're going to slip Randy a little tryptophan in the way of a turkey sandwich or something, Lucky, so he's real tired on the lights, huh?
Well, you call it tryptophan. I call it tequila. Whatever you're familiar, you're comfortable with.
Then we've got Dwight Garland on the show. He races Nostalgia 2 and Nostalgia 1 as well as the 7.0 Pro next year. So he's going to be a busy guy. Now, we started a motor project here on Speed Scene Live called the Project 406 with Paul Williams Specialties. And we'll be doing some weekly updates on the high-performance build of a small block 406 from block to strip. Follow along and see the motor come together, then watch it go down the track. Now, we'll be heading to filming this assembly of the motor in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and whose motor's that car for, Bob? You want
I believe it's for Diana-Mite.
Yeah, you want to specify whose car that new motor's
This
going
is
in.
going to start putting out more horsepower than Lucky's.
Nah, well, it's a small block compared to big block. I don't know about that, but it's going to put out more power than my spare motor I have in there now.
Yeah, you're going to be going quick there. Now, if you want more information about it, contact Paul Williams Specialties at pwsspecialties.com or give him a call at 661-864-1632. And with us tonight, sharing his gas, is going to be TV Tommy Ivo, sitting right alongside me.
Tommy, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, it's such an honor to have you on the show. You know, I tell everyone I consider you to be one of the first showmen of the drag racing world. You know, when did you start racing?
Well, like everybody here in Southern California, at 16 years old, I had to go out there and see what my Buick would do, and it went a roaring 66.66 miles an hour, which wasn't too terribly exciting. Still driving your car on a racetrack was pretty good.
Heck yeah. Now, I don't think that's the Buick that Diana just showed with the 4 motors, so that might be a slightly different car, right?
Slightly.
I had a 52 Buick that I ran out there at Saugus, and that's what started the whole thing, was Buicks. When I went to look for my car, me and my girlfriend pedaled our bikes up to town here in Burbank and looked at them all and got all these brochures, and I thought, you know, that's really a good looking one. What is it, a buck? I didn't even know how to say it, you know. But it kept going, and I put 1, 2, 4 motors into the car, and it got a little silly, so I changed over to Chryslers, especially when the fuel came back in again.
Yeah, so you ran the Buicks and just about everything. I mean, you started out with the Buick sedan, or the coupe, and then you moved on to, you started building the T.
Well, yeah, we kept kicking the Dynaflow out of the thing, and I was working in pictures at the time, so there we were with a problem of getting to work in the morning. So I saw Norm Grabowski's T over at Bob's, and I said, man, I gotta have me one of those. And I went over and asked him, do you mind if I build one? And he said, sure, kid, and got me out of the way. But I did, and it put a Buick in it, of course, if it ran so good in a stock car. Then, of course, you had to graduate to dragsters, and man, off it went from there. We were limited to gasoline only at the time. That's why we kept putting more and more engines in it. When you ran out of power, the only way to do it was to add another motor to it. Now, what you're looking at right here, this is my first fuel car. We took in, I use hammers. If everything else fails, axe and hammers work great.
And disc brakes. When was this car built?
This is shot right in my home that I have now. I'm living in the same home in Burbank here that I bought for $12,000 when I was 12 years old.
And this is the garage of that home.
This is the shop behind it, and we took well, you know.
At 12?
Yeah, well, that was from my movie money, of course.
Oh,
wow.
That's right. You were a child star.
I was. I made about 100 movies and a couple of 100 television shows.
Couple hundred TV shows and 100 movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took 20 years to do it, but that's what happened. But this piece that we're looking at right here is where my master bedroom is now. We incorporated that in the house. It went from 1,000 to 4,000 feet. So I've spent a lot of time on that piece of terra firma, but it's a lot easier sleeping in my bed than pounding these darn cars together all night.
That's a
Now, you did a lot of the work yourself back then, huh?
I did. I did.
You didn't have the crew. Now, I know you had this one guy working on your team at one time. I don't know whatever happened to him. What was his name?
Don
the worm. No. Don the snake. No pun intended here. He was the worm. He was just a friendly little old worm when I first met him. And then he turned around and grew fangs on me and became the awesome snake. So that was one Pandora's box I got open that I could never close again.
Well, one of the things we're going to talk about, though, besides your dragsters, which everyone should know about, but you were the showman that started making transported trailers. Everyone else was using open trailers, including yourself, and that was a little hard on the equipment too.
Well, it just, I think it had to do with my movie background. I was in movies before they even had television, you understand.
Yeah, you
go
did
back a little ways.
You did use the word talkies.
Yeah. Well, my buddies all tell me that IVO, my last name, is perfect. It stands for I'm very old. So, with friends like that, you don't need any enemies, you understand. But we used to wear the hinges off the trailer. They'd see my name on the side and say, "Oh, can we go in and look at the car?" So we'd open it up and close it. We went over to England racing, and they had little buses with big windows on the side of them. I thought, man, that's the ticket, because our Greyhounds just had those little portholes that you used to look at. And so we put them on the side of the trailer. The showbiz stepped into it, and man, it really set them back on their ear when we pulled in there.
Now, there's the trailer that's the one you built. This is how it was when you built it, correct?
That is the original trailer that we built.
And on the phone with us right now as well is Ron Johnson, who just finished restoring that trailer.
I drive him crazy.
And it's a very short drive with Ron. Right, Ron?
I'm here. And Ivo does make me a little bit nuts, but I started with the advantage on that count, so we're really getting along pretty good.
Good. Now, you just finished that trailer up. I saw it down at Cruisin' Grand, and you just got it back together again, but then you finished the lettering just in time for the Hot Rod reunion.
Well, the Hot Rod reunion was our deadline when Tommy and I started working on this project back in May, and the objective was to have it finished for that. So we made maximum effort, and the Nitro Night in Escondido was an intermediate event, an opportunity to show the trailer in its partially completed form, and that was the first time Tommy had seen it since he sold it.
Wow.
Because Tommy came down and sat in the Barnstormer, the fuel car, in Escondido, and we had the trailer there on purpose so that he could get reacquainted with it.
That's what it looked like that's on the screen right now when we first picked it up after it had been laying in this junkyard for 35 years.
So it just sat there?
See what he had to work with. It disintegrated.
Wow.
Now, what you're seeing on the side there, the white, is actually still the glass, isn't it?
Yeah, we had to strip. It was out by the beach and had rotted out all the wood and everything in it, so we put all new siding on the thing. But those glass windows, the steel frame and the glass windows that are the original windows is what he had to work with.
So you had to scrape all the paint off those windows.
Well, yeah, it was some, I didn't.
Somebody did.
I send Knuckles down to talk to Ron Johnson and tell him to get those windows squared away.
Knuckles.
Now here's a picture of the trailer behind your Cadillac.
That's it. That's when we were out the first year.
I love that look of the trailer with the Cadillac, and I could just imagine Tommy sitting behind the wheel of that Cadillac and just the king of drag racing. I mean, what style?
You know, we went to leave here. We got as far as Ontario. Some guy fell asleep at the wheel, ran into the back of the trailer, hit it full tilt boogie. He stepped into the gas, put the engine in the front seat with him, it didn't break a glass.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
All right, now that attests to the strength of the trailer. You built the trailer.
Yeah, oh yeah. I had a lot of energy.
You know, Tommy, when I think of you, I just thought you were like this movie star that would show up and drive the car, but you really were the whole force behind everything.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of a little sad part of it, because they picked up on it. You know, when I went out the first time, I had a series called Margie running, and they picked up on it that I was a millionaire playboy movie star that drove race cars for the fun of it. But I actually started doing it just to have something to do in between. No matter how much you work, you've always got big gaps in between pictures. So I picked up on cars, and it got so good that I gave up the movie business and went racing.
But you did the movies for 20 years, so you had a pretty long run.
I'm telling you, from when I was 7 till I was 26.
Wow.
We had a little overlap there with the racing, but they grounded me from driving when I just finished my 4-motor car. Oh, there's just while we have it on the screen here.
Now, who grounded you?
The studio did. Let me just look at this right here. That's myself and Don Perdone. That's our first tour that we went out with the twin motor car.
Wow.
Hey, is that a 57 Cadillac?
It certainly is.
Oh,
look at
wow. I got one of those at home.
The top on it. We look
Yeah.
like the grapes of wrath going back. What the thing.
Dude, I love that.
And that was the beginning of Perdome's career right there.
He was my tire wiper on that.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I gave him no mercy when we would stop in motel rooms. Oh, there we go around the corner there. There were no interstates. Look at that. We about to have lamb chops.
Yeah.
No interstates, no cell phones, no credit cards.
Oh, yeah. No leashes. That was the good part of the whole thing.
This is a little bit later. That's the 4-engine car.
That's
isn't
the
it?
4-engine car. It was still an open trailer at that time. I was going to say, poor Perdone, we'd stop at motels and I'd take a shampoo and pour it out and put 10-weight oil in.
No!
I don't know why he doesn't like me, but anyway. And here we are sliding we finally put the 4-motor car into an enclosed trailer. That was the first time that we ever did it. Of course, we'd have to ham it up every time we went across the state line or something like that.
And always a Cadillac. Is that another Cadillac?
No.
That's something else.
It's a Buick. I think.
Buick, yeah. Buick.
You never.
You switched from Cadillacs to Buicks, huh?
No, Buick was very nice and gave me that car to use for a tow car.
Wow.
But again, I was doing the Margie series, so I never went out with the 4-motor car. I only drove it once when we first had it running the first time. And we got a series of shots going on here. There's myself and Dave Zuchel. We went up northwest. When I changed to fuel cars, we still had it on a little lollipop trailer like that. Went up to Seattle, ran it the first time, won a big World Series race up there, and beat Garlitz, outran him, beat him in the last round. How good is that to start fuel dragster racing?
Man.
Now, at that point, had you switched over to the Chryslers yet?
I had just changed to the Chryslers at that time. So it was quite a ride. I mean, we were the first car to run in the 7s. Ooh. And the first to run 190 miles an hour.
Fast.
It wouldn't even be a good race for a pro stocker nowadays, you know. But the tracks we ran it on, they were pretty exciting to run too, let me tell you.
Now, Tommy, you mentioned that the studio, back to that short story, the studio had grounded you, so they wouldn't let you participate in some of the events at some point?
How'd that happen?
That's why I quit the movie business and went racing. I was doing the Margie series. Hot Rod decided to take a picture of that 4-motor car that you saw earlier in the show on the set. And we rolled that thing out of the box, and they looked at that, and I could hear the door slamming all the way across the studio. As they came out with my contract, no more drag racing. And then I got this kid, my pal, my buddy, Don Perdone, to drive it. And I paid him $25 a race. Do you think inflation is race or what? So when the series was over, everybody was walking around with big dog eyes saying, and we lost the show. We lost the show. They hear this commotion in the dressing room, and I'm doing handstands in there. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! I get to go drag racing. And I said, that's it. I'm not gonna race anymore.
All right, now we just showed the 4-engine car running. That was from a movie that you did.
Yeah, it was called, let me see, Bikini Beach Party. Oh,
yes.
They had that. They had my fuel car in it. Perdone and I did all the driving and the thing for it. And they had monkeys driving the 4-motor car, etc., etc. That was the Annette Funicello, Frankie Avalon series they were doing there for a while.
Do you remember Annette in the bikini?
Oh, boy, do I remember.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Who would forget Annette in the bikini?
She was really just a champion of a person. Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
There she is.
Frankie Avalon played a Beatle in the thing. That's actually, suppose that's me sitting in there for this shot. That's Don Rickles as the starter of the thing.
Oh, wow. Look at that burnout.
Isn't that something? People used to say, how could you see out of that thing? And for about 50 feet, you couldn't, because it would put up a pretty good smoke screen.
Just hold
As
the
you
steering
went
wheel.
down the track, it looked like you got a long way. And, of course, as stories go in racing, it got better and better. And I kept saying, it's 100 feet before you can see. Before I got done with my story, it was half track before I could see. They turn around and look at me with eyes as big as saucers saying, really?
But let's go take line 3.
Okay, you can pick that up. We're seeing the last few seconds of the Bikini Beach 4-engine car.
Yeah. They did a deal where Perdone and I parked side by side on the starting line, and they put us on one side of the track, so it wasn't too big of an angle. Up there comes the there comes the monkey.
Come on!
But anyway, Lickles had never seen a car before. We push-started it, and we roared by him on both sides of him, and he walked out of the cloud of smoke and threw the starter flag on the ground and says, I quit. And it came out so good, they put it right in the movie. Only when they cut it through the smoke and everything, he come out with his hat turned sideways and his jacket all tattered.
Oh, that is funny. Oh,
Now,
man.
Ron, what are your plans with the trailer now that it's all restored?
Well, since it is so unusual, based on the rigs that are used today, we intend to take it to various events, both street events and racetrack events, and display the whole rig with the Cadillac tow car and the Barnstormer inside the trailer, just like Tommy did it back in the old days. And of course, we put the floodlights on the inside of the trailer, so at night we can turn the lights on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it makes a pretty interesting package for people. I've gotten more positive. I have to say that I have gotten more positive response about the trailer than I have of any of the 3 cackle cars that I recreated.
You know, that's so great. I'm going to actually go out tomorrow morning and start cutting windows in my trailer. That's what I'm going to do. But before I do, hey, Diana-mite, let's go to line 3. Mo, you're on the line with TV Tommy Ivo. How you doing tonight?
Great. How you doing?
We're doing good. Now, I just told him that you and I, well, not you, your son and I are going to be racing each other. And, you know, Tommy's a racer from way back. You know, he's got a lot of race experience. And I told him that we had to bump you guys the next week because, well, Tommy's a big name. I mean, come on.
I got him buffaloed.
But we are going to have you guys live in studio next week. We're going to talk about Match Race Madness at Verona. And what do you think? Do you think I should cut those windows in the side of the trailer, Mo?
Oh, I would. I'd cut the whole side of the trailer out.
Well, Mo, you have a trailer, a brand new one. I can see you cutting yours as well, huh?
No, I'll let Scott do his first. I'll see how it looks.
Yeah. A little harder on a stacker, dear.
There we go right there, Tommy. That's me racing Diane at the last time we raced down at the Match Race Madness. And I got lucky. I was racing a very good racer with Diane. And luckily, I managed to pull it off. I got the win. So I'm shooting for another win. But, man, Mo, your son's a great driver. And your Nova's a really nice car. It's going to be a little tough.
Well, yours is a little quicker, so he's going to have to step up on the light, you know.
But I hear his reaction time
Go
is...
out and have some fun, and, whoever wins, and no hard feelings.
I was going to say, I hear his reaction time is terrible. So you got a little edge going there. But
Tommy,
take that.
I met you about 40 years ago in Ohio. You, Don Johnson, and Don Perdome came to my brother-in-law's house and spent the night there. You were out there for a match race.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. We used to race almost 100, well, actually over 100 couple of times, races a year. We'd tow about 100,000 miles a year, and that poor Cadillac would come home with its tongue hanging on the ground.
And would you stay at friends' houses and just, get away from a motel room that way?
Well, yeah, we were a bunch of rat packers in those days. Gypsies, I guess I should say. We sort of wandered from place to place as we went.
Well, Mo, we're looking forward to having you on the show next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to have a good time out at Verona. And besides your son Randy and me, there's a whole bunch of other cars. Heads Up Racing, best 2 out of 3, just like in the old days when TV Tommy used to race.
Absolutely.
That's it. It's supposed to be foreign cars versus domestic, so it ought to be one heck of a show out there.
I heard Santos stepped it up. He ran a 570 with that little silver Toyota.
Dang.
Damn.
Toyota Corolla, and I think he also won the wheel stand contest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he did that at Verona. He went back on that rear bumper, came down and clearanced the pan. It doesn't hit the ground anymore.
We want to clarify that Verona is 8th mile. Tommy, just to let you know that,
okay.
that 5-second run is in the 8th mile, not quarter mile.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it nice, though, that we can be talking to each other on the phone here?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Hey, Scott, I'm going to go. I appreciate you having me on the show on the phone, and we will see you next week.
We'll see you next week,
then.
Mo. Talk
Thanks,
to you
Mo.
later.
Okay. Bye-bye, Tommy.
Nice seeing you.
Tommy,
Seeing you.
there's
Nice seeing you.
so many people with all these years, all this history. There's so many people that you've met and that have seen you race. It's just got to be incredible. In fact, I remember the first time you and I met, I saw you standing in line at Porto's Bakery buying some sweets.
Yeah, they got some good stuff. Where do you...
Diana-mite said, "Hey, isn't that TV Tommy Ivo?" And she walked up and said, "Excuse me, I know this might be strange, but are you TV Tommy Ivo?" And the guy in line next to you turned around and went, "What?"
And then he said, "Is he still alive?" Oh, that Porto's Bakery. Where do you think my Buddha belly comes from?
Isn't that the best place around?
I'm
Oh, my
telling you.
goodness.
But you must get that all the time with people recognizing you and talking to you, and not just drag racing. Well, you do look kind of similar to your movie career, actually.
Yeah, that's nice. I didn't change too terribly much, and you got to imagine how good feeling that must be.
Well, and here we are seeing you many years ago in that Roy Rogers movie that we talked about earlier. So,
Oh, yeah, no. He was my hero. In fact, I've got a merry-go-round horse in my house that I used to ride in Denver, Colorado when I was 5, and that was Trigger, Roy Rogers' horse. We went through there to when they were tearing down the merry-go-round racing, and I bought it, and I've got it up in my loft nowadays.
Holy
So
cow.
That's
Wow.
really something special like that,
Now, how long have you lived in that house that you've got now?
Oh, well, let me see if my math is right here. It's been some 66 years. How's that?
I bet you've got a lot of neat little things squirreled
yeah,
away in
yeah,
different locations that.
Well, it's grown from 1,000 to 4,000 feet.
Wow.
These lots are here in Burbank, and it was in the Rancho district.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
There you are on top of the stage.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'll tell you. If you go to my website, TommyIvo.com, we're not selling anything on, so this is not a commercial, but we're just finally getting the thing together. And if you go to the movie tab, people don't realize just how many movies I made. And it's got, like my favorite movies. There's one that says Practical Joker on the thing that's just below that center one right there. Oh, yeah. No, and in that one there, I was pouring ants down guys' backs and chasing them around the estate on a riding lawnmower. anymore, but that's how it got into my DNA. I used to drive him crazy.
Well, you mentioned the shampoo with Don Perdome.
Yeah.
What are some of the other practical jokes that you've done in the past?
Oh, I mean, it gets a little carried away from time. See the
Hey, Future Man.
Future Man, yeah. I was a spoiled, rotten little kid and got pawned off on these poor guys and drove them just absolutely nuts. But, I think my prize one is probably when we went to Hawaii racing, and McEwen went along with me. And the first night we were there, I went down to the desk and said, I left my key at the desk. My name's Tom McEwen, you know. So we took and put his alarm clock for 2 o'clock in the morning on the local bebop station. 2 o'clock, doodle-doodle-doo, off it goes, and he came out of the bed like a cat you poured water. You know? So the next night I take my alarm clock and I put it in there, set it to 2 o'clock, doodle 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 doo, you know. The next day he checked out that room, and I took another one and wired it into the air conditioner so he couldn't get off. 3 o'clock, doodle 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 doo. We could hear it in the vents coming out in our room, and we were rolling around on the ground laughing, and I hear bang, bang, bang on my door. Well, who can that be? McEwen, of course. I opened the door to see his face, what he looked like, and that was my first mistake. He grabbed me he came through that door like a funny car on fire, grabbed me by the neck, held me out over the railing 14 floors off the ground. Says the next time a clock goes off in my room, I'm going to drop you. And he had a good night's sleep the next night.
Well, he couldn't take a joke. What's wrong with him?
I know.
You don't mess with a man's sleep, Diana-mite. Plus, wasn't this the night before race day?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of
course.
I drugged Perdone down to my level one time, though. We'd messed up his room. So he found out what room I was in. They broke in the door. He had a bucket full of oil, and Zuchel had a bucket full of feathers, and they feathered and oiled me.
Oh, man.
Then he realized his car was on an open trailer and mine was in a glass trailer. And he says, if anybody touches the race cars, I'm going to shoot holes in your windows. So I left him alone that night.
Bruce, let's go back to that one shot there.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, there we are. You'll never guess who that is, will you? Good old Annette Funicello.
Yeah, well, this one's a little bit more scarier. Now, this is at Pomona.
Look at this reel. Look at those tires.
What happened there?
The engine exploded, and we had designed the car. We didn't know we were working with axes and hammers in those days, so we dropped the wing to make it look more paper darty, and it had such a ferocious fire it zeroed out the downforce on the wing. And when I lifted, it rolled over the torque, rolled it over in the lights, ran 240 miles an hour upside down and backwards.
Holy
and
cow.
Disintegrated when it hit the guardrail.
Wow.
And I wouldn't have missed that for the world. I didn't get hurt, of course.
Thank
That's
goodness.
the trick. The only thing that made me mad was it scared me so bad I closed my eyes and missed the whole show. But them ostriches aren't all stupid. It does work.
It does work. All right, I get something here.
Wow, look at that.
I don't know if Bruce can get that on camera clear.
I think you hit your
Yeah.
microphone there, Bob.
Okay, so what are we looking at, Bob?
All right, see those are a pair of driving gloves, and they're just all burned up.
Singed.
You know, when I quit running, this 50th anniversary of the World's Finals that's going on next week, it has a lot of history to it. That crash at Pomona, which was at Pomona. Well, I took these gloves and I made a run in my Ford motor car for my last pass, and then got up on it and held it with a pair of tongs and burned it with the track burner, because they always say you burn your gloves when you quit racing. Well, you know, TV Tom had to do it literally, and it got a nice little round of applause out of the folks.
Wow. Look
But
at
there's
those.
so much history at that World Finals, because it was where I made my last run. So it has an awful lot to do with me. It was at Orange County at the time. But
And this run right here, you were technically the winner of that round because you crossed the finish line first.
yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
You won that round. You couldn't come back.
So what was the deal? You were upside down and backwards, but you still beat your competitor.
And when we got done, I got out of the car and I says, "Do you think we can fix it for the next round?" I think it hit me a little hard on the head when I rolled the thing over or something. There were pieces spread out for a quarter mile.
Now I don't know about that car. Where is it now? Does Ron Johnson have that car? Is he going to restore that car? Or has anybody restored the car?
Ron Johnson is my godfather. He has so many of my cars. Not so many of my cars. He has the Barnstormer, which is my original fuel car, and he did just an immaculate job of putting it together. And we run that thing in these cackle fests like 50% used to be a bunch to put in it for a race. He puts 90% in it. Man, does that thing sound good.
That really cackles.
But I made the turn on the starting line when we were pushing the car for the Cackle Fest to drive it back up the track, and I thought, boy, I'm glad I'm not letting the clutch out on this thing. It would run away with me nowadays. I back over trash cans and drive over curbs. I'm a little dangerous to have in a race car. But he put that glass trailer together and everything, and we've just had a good mutual acquaintance going here, and he really does a nice job.
Bruce, why don't we pull up some of the later glass trailers, because this is you started the tradition with the trailer that Ron's got.
Mm-hmm.
Now this was your first enclosed trailer.
This was the first enclosed trailer.
With the Buick Riviera pulling it.
Is that like a camper?
Yeah. You know, you'd get stuck in these. We'd go out racing in Empik, New Hampshire, and that was a big vacation area, so there'd be no hotels or anything. And Garlitz and his wife and Connie Swingle, a whole bunch of them would be in his the camper type, not the camper type. Let's try again. Anyway, they'd get into his truck and they'd all be sleeping in there. I thought, man, there's got to be a better way to do that. See it going up on the lift here? That's when we went over to England racing. It was about 12 stories off the ground. And I built the trailer to sit on the wheels. And I was expecting the sides to pull off of it. The way they handled it, it looked like one of those things you beat at a party and all the stuff falls off.
A piñata.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that's what they call
We're
it.
glad that didn't happen.
Look at it. There it is on the
here.
boat.
It's right up on deck.
That is amazing.
They couldn't get down in the hole, so the captain said, if we run into a storm, I'm not going to have that thing running around on deck. It goes over the side. So I was keeping a pretty good eye on the sky all the trip going over.
So you went on the boat with it over to Europe?
Yeah.
With the car inside the trailer.
Went on the USS United States over there, which was the creme de la creme at the time.
You know, speaking of the United States, Tommy, I believe I've heard recently that ship is now mothballed, and they're looking for a buyer because now it's sort of outdated. And gee, Ron, I don't know. Are you interested in maybe refurbishing a ship?
You want to build a hotel?
You hit the nail right on the head.
Man, what a Tommy Ivo collectible that would be.
Wouldn't it, though? Well, it's a little outdated. I'm afraid I'm a little outdated, too. This was the first enclosed trailer that we made for the fuel car just before we went to England. And see that kind of hatch on the back there?
Yeah.
We took and we blew out a tire, and you couldn't feel it with the 4 tires, but you could see the smoke coming out. We changed the tire, threw it in the back, and took off again, and there was more smoke coming out about 5 minutes later. And I thought, not another tire. So I ran around back. The tires were fine, and I saw a little smoke coming out of that crease. And I lifted up that tailgate, and the fire had caught on fire. The tire had caught on fire inside the thing. Took all my eyebrows, my eyelashes, the hair off. And it was a funny part of the thing, because you know how your hair rolls up in little balls. When I closed my eyes, when it shot at me, it wound the eyelashes together, and I couldn't open my eyes. But I could smell the smoke, the burnt flesh from the hair in my nose. And I thought I was on fire. And I was rolling rolling around on the ground, beating myself on the head, saying, "Somebody put me out, put me out." Of course, they could see I was fine and just stood and laughed at me like they always do.
Wow. What we wouldn't have given for, cell phones back there with the video camera,
See, this is the trailer that I was talking about.
This is a trailer?
Not the trailer.
That's what
I'm sorry.
he modeled his trailers
when
after.
we were in England.
I
So it had those big sides in it, and that's where I got the idea. See the little phone here to the right? I'm standing there trying to figure out how to make halfpennies and farthings and what have you work on the darn phone to get some service. But
Why doesn't this phone have a camera built into it?
I'm telling you. And there we are back again. That was the trailer that evolved out of the whole thing. And now this was on down the line. You can see it's at night here how we light them up. That's right out in front of my house there.
That's amazing. So you would drive it around with the lights on, and people would see you coming from a mile away. And when they would look through the windows, they would see a dragster in there.
This is the one I like right here. This is my favorite.
Talk about the Corvette.
Oh, let me tell you, that was exciting to get that thing off the top. But the Corvette setup, there we are.
Look at that. Oh, you are a daredevil.
Me backing the thing off of there. I'll tell you what was strange. See how the ramps just go up there? When you started backing off, it looked like you were backing off the end of the cliff. You're just hoping that you were on the ramps, or you'd have had a pretty good ride rolling the thing on off the top of that.
Now, were those ramps aluminum or were they steel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because if they were steel, they would have been heavy.
Yeah, well, they were all hand carried. We got them from those car haulers. Of course, nowadays they have all the electric hoists and hydraulic rams and everything. Them bunch of lightweights. What it was like. But this was really the first of the big rigs. No one ever had anything like this. We'd roll into the track and then people's jaws would hit the ground. We'd go down to Pennsylvania Pike with the lights turned on, and I could hear on the CB all the truckers, "Did you see that, Tommy? Avocado going down west at mile marker 2."
Look at that. And you're color coordinated, and the shirt.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. You were like the P.T. Barnum of drag racing.
Yeah.
I had a
Ultimate
vivid
show.
imagination.
The greatest show on earth.
You see the guys nowadays with all the crews fanned out in front of them. Well, that was me. I was the chief cook and bottle washer. Everything from the the floor sweeper to the CEO. On that last shot, we're going.
Look at that.
That even goes to. We even put it in car shows.
Wow.
See the air conditioning up on top
Yeah.
of the thing there?
Oh, sure.
So was that living space underneath?
I spent many an hour in that thing.
Wow.
Hey, Bruce, can you go back to that shot of him in the fire suit? Look at that smile, man. You love drag racing. I mean, come on, look at that. You're going through all this, you're traveling, you're doing all the work, you're working your butt off, and you couldn't be happier.
Me and my howdy doody smile.
Oh, that's $1 million smile right there.
Yeah, well, how can you not be happy? I mean, see, it just evolves right along.
Oh, wow.
There we are, back to the glass sides again, but this time is with my funny car.
Sure.
How many funny cars did you run?
I had 4 funny cars. I had 36 cars altogether.
Wow.
Oh,
I had
holy cow.
8 front engine cars. Look at this. Look at this. Now that's our pit. There's no hospitality section there. Here
You
we
got
are.
the clutch out, the car's
That's
torn
it.
down.
What a difference between then and now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man. Now, this is the one I think I saw in New Hampshire.
This is it.
And
you
it's-
didn't see the 4-engine car in it.
No, just the trailer.
The trailer was built for my jet car, and then we used it for my 4-engine car. And that was going to be my last tour around the country. But on the 3rd stop, I ran over what was a bump in the ground, a frost heave, where the track was pushed up. It crushed 3 vertebrae in my back. When I just scraped a little metal off the bottom of the car, and that was the end of my racing career. So that was pretty memorable.
When you retired, is this the trailer you had, or was it the transporter?
No, this is it.
This
The
is it.
transporter, we sent it down the road. We run backwards here a little. That's the other one that we got. Oh, here we are out in front of the
Bakersfield.
Doubletree up
Right.
in Bakersfield up there. No, the transporter, it was okay, but it was an awful lot of work. In fact, when we left it, my crew guy Tarzan says, "Wait a minute, I forgot something," but backed up and spit on the truck.
Oh, no.
Oh, there we are. There's Ron Johnson's
Yeah, Ron, we
creation
got your
of
card.
my barnstormer. And that thing, it thumps pretty good, I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. See, we cheat. We've got long headers on it. In those
Yeah.
days, it made a lot more noise than the Zoomies. Oh, this right here. See that guy's, how he's sort of standing with his legs stiff, pointing out the side?
Sure.
I took a ride with him in England on that sidecar thing. You just laid down there and hung onto a pole with your feet hanging out the back, you know. So he says, "Any of you Yanks want to ride?" Oh yeah, I was all for it. We went through the finish line, and he run 112. That isn't bad. No seatbelt, no nothing, laying on that platform. And he chucked it in the high gear and kept going. And I says, "Okay, you scared me." Started beating him on the leg to shut the thing down. And he just kept right on going. Come to find out, he had a wooden leg. That's why it's stiff like that, and couldn't feel me beating on it.
Hey, Tommy, that's a great story. I got to interrupt you because I get carried away and I could just listen to every one of your stories. I soak them up like a sponge. But Dynamite, you've got somebody that would like to talk to him.
I do. Let's go to line 2 and welcome Jack Red. Jack, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Thank you. I met Tommy down at Quasco when he ran Tex Randall, and he came up to me and took a spark plug wire and beat him with 7 cylinders. But I was also friends with Gordon Tatum, and a lot of people don't realize that you're also a song and dance man, right?
Oh yeah. No, that was from the movies. That's how I got into the thing, was tap dancing. All kids did that in those days instead of playing guitars like they do now. And I went out for the cattle call of all those kids out there dancing, and I'm missing my front teeth. And the director looked at all of us and said, "I'll have the one without teeth." That's how I got in the movies. It's strange how this stuff happens, you know. Running on 7 cylinders, huh? Boy, I was a show-off sometimes, wasn't I?
Did you ever play any games against Gordon Tatum when you stayed at his house?
Oh, boy, did I ever. We used to go out on the road, and I had my list of all the pistons and rods and everything we need, and on the list was firecrackers. We had to have our M80s along with us, otherwise it just wasn't worthwhile going. It was my first single-engine Buick there with the blown with a blower on it.
Yeah.
Kent Fuller wouldn't build me a twin-engine car that I wanted. Oh, there's my old buddy Don Perdone. We were a couple of young bloods. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's what he thought of me most of the time.
That was after you called him the worm.
Yeah.
I think he was saying, "You're number 1 in my book."
You see that red and white car there? That was in the 60s. That was in the psychedelic days, you understand. And I'd look at the flames coming out of the headers, and you step on the
One right
gas,
before it, please.
and it would just, all the smoke would turn into vivid colors, and I'd look up and say, "Far out, man."
Far out.
There we are.
There we go.
Now,
My
Jack,
psychedelic days.
Jack, I know that you're involved with a lot of East Coast racing, and you do a lot of stuff with dragsters and famous people, and of course we all see the, you know, do you know Jack stickers? But wouldn't you think Tommy would be a big hit to come out to some of your events back there?
Well, I was trying to get. Well, this weekend we're having a big show at. Well, not we, but Bruce Lawson's having a big show at his place called Barn Fest. In fact, he just sold the car that Tommy wrecked, the one with the I call them front fenders on the wheels. But
Really?
then we're having a get-together at the Eastern Motor Museum with Darwin Dahl promoting his Super Stock, the 50th anniversary of the Super Stock Nationals at York, Pennsylvania. So that's in the works so far. So
Well,
I would like to I'd like to get Tommy to come back here sometime. Maybe he can bring Jim Kelly and my old buddy Jim.
That'd be some fun, wouldn't it?
Well, we'll see if we can find a trailer and a Cadillac, and we'll put him on the road and head him east.
Ron, you've got that set up already, don't you?
Let me tell you.
Jack, thanks so much for calling in.
Okay, buddy. Thanks a lot, and keep on racing.
Yeah, you know, Bruce Larson, he found the cockpit, which was basically what was left of the car that I'd crashed there, and he put it back together again. I put it back together when we crashed it the first time and ran it that season, and then I sold it for $2,000 and was happy to get it. He put it back together and put it up to auction and sold it for $250,000, and they about found me laying in a pool of blood in the living room when I heard about that.
I'll bet. Jeez.
These cars go for some serious money.
Wow.
Well, they do because they're connected to you, and I'm sure there's a huge demand. And in just a week and a half or so, you will be at Pomona for the NHRA finals. You will be one of the dignitaries or honorees, or I don't know what you call it, Tommy, but you're going to be out there. What are you going to be doing at Pomona? Just meeting and greeting, talking to people?
Well, yeah, it's about the legends, and they're having some question and answer periods, and they're going to have Don Garlitz, Don Perdone, the Goose, of course, McEwen, and Bernstein, Shirley Muldowney. So there'll be several of us that are still kicking around, and it's fun to deal with the people down there.
You going to be playing any jokes on anybody?
No,
Yeah, maybe an alarm
they got
clock.
me outnumbered.
How about an alarm clock inside the podium?
I'll tell you what they're doing with my book on Amazon.com from the 7th of this month to the 23rd. They're going to sell electronic versions of it for $2.99.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a good
pretty
deal.
good deal. So get a little history of Ivo out there on the thing, too.
Now, Bob, did
Yes.
you show all the trailers, all the different incarnations of his career? Because, you know, I think
Yeah.
you're the first guy to actually really document the trailers. And
Well, we tried. We got all the pictures. Tommy gave me a lot of pictures. Joel and a friend of ours gave me a lot of others, and we've showed them pretty much. And the black one that the last tour trailer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I used to live around the corner from you,
Right.
and I used to take my kid over to see it because she had it parked right over there by the house.
Yeah.
And I tell them, this is TV Tommy Ivo, and I tell them the story about you racing and the TVs, and I met you when you were judging model car contests
Oh,
back in the
we did-
60s. And
did everything at one time
Yeah.
or another, but we took and I would take and park that out in front, and if I had, like with the 4-engine cars, several motors to move around or something, I'd wait till school let out, because
Yep.
both the junior high and the high school walked by there, and I'd pick me out a couple of big ones and say, come on back and help me with these motors here.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, I remember that batting out in front. Now, Tom McCurry had the 4-engine car for a while, and he actually put the Buick wagon body on it, didn't he?
He did. So that's what we took and ran on my last tour when I broke my back in the thing.
now we've got Ron Johnson on the phone.
on.
Diana-mite.
Well, he called in and he was talking about the fact that you're going to Verona on Thanksgiving weekend, and he mentioned he might show up there. Right, Ron?
Yeah, I only live about 25 miles from the track, and I didn't know about this event,
Oh,
but it's on Saturday, I understand.
29th.
That's right, the Saturday right after
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. And I'm going to go down there Friday, and of course there'll be a party in the pits. And you're more than welcome, Ron. And there's going to be a ton of people, match race, all kinds of activity go down, and we would love to see you there. I would
Well,
invite
let me see
Tommy,
what I
but
can do.
he'll
Yeah, I'll
probably
try to
just
get
tell
some-
me,
I'll try to get
right,
some-
kid.
I'll try to get some help and bring the rig up, the caddy and the trailer and the
That'd be
barn
good.
Oh, wow. That would be awesome.
and show it off. And I'd like to mention that I've got a website called cacklefest.com, and if anybody wants to see pictures of the trailer and the car and so forth, they can go on there and go to event coverage, because we've just posted the Cackle Fest, and there's pictures in the Cackle Fest coverage from the Hot Rod reunion of the trailer, and the Cadillac, and Tommy with his big grin on his face.
You know, he mentioned, I don't know if he'd said it on the show or off camera, that they only ran 50% nitro, but he says you tip about 90-95% in there, and that baby really cackles.
He scares me.
Well, it is pretty stout.
I remember when you had the Chisler and Tommy's car at Irwindale for one of the Moon Eyes events, I believe it was, and they both went down track side by side.
Wow.
Yep, that's right. Well, we like to do something with them besides just show them off. So, you know, we've made a handful of passes with both of them.
Well, now, I know Tommy said that he hurt his back and he can't drive anymore, but I believe Don Perdone is unemployed at this time.
He lives out in the San Diego area.
I will put up the $25 per race fee that he's used to getting.
He'd be happy to come out, of course.
For $25, I think you're going to have to add a few zeros to that.
Well,
Lucky.
that's what Tommy used to pay him, you know, and I won't mess with his shampoo at all.
Yes, yes. And if it's good enough for Tommy paying him, that it's good enough for you, right?
That's
Lucky?
it.
Right. What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah.
You think Don will do that
No,
for
I'll
you?
tell you, you got to go to that cacklefest.com. He's got a lot of stuff on there. Of course, that's right after you go to TommyIvo.com.
Exactly, of course.
Of course.
Take that, Ron.
Ron, I do appreciate you calling in and some of the information you have, and that the fact that you've restored that trailer, that's a piece of history that is just amazing. No one, I don't think anyone else has restored a vintage trailer for drag racing of that type.
It's been a fun project, and the reception has been stupendous, and we expect to have a great time with it, Tommy and I, for some years to come. I'm an octogenarian now, and he's getting close, but with close to 160 years between us, we have no fear of going out in a 50-year-old car towing a 50-year-old trailer. That's just
Good. Good. I like to hear that.
It's a newbie to us.
There you go.
Well, if you were going to pick a trailer to restore, you picked the right
You
one.
picked a good one, yeah.
Yep.
That is great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in. Well, we're almost
Forward to seeing you all at Verona.
Excellent.
Yes.
See you there.
I'm going to
I'll
actually
sign off now.
Okay,
All right,
thank you very much. I'm actually posting that on Facebook right now that, hey, you know what? The little bit of TV Tommy Ivo might be at Match Race Madness. That's at Verona. In fact, you know what? We probably should do a little bit of what's going on.
We
because
are lucky.
we
We're
are
at the top. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour, and we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to go commercial free tonight, so that we can send our love out to Tommy Ivo. And here in studio with us, we want to thank Curry at Curry Racing Rear Ends, as well as Headman Header and Aeromotive, M&H Tires. Thanks go out to you as well. Right, Lucky?
That's right. And Tommy, before we tell everyone where we're going, we did mention you're going to be at Pomona, but where else can people find TV Tommy Ivo?
Well, it's winter time now, so I'm going to take a little rest. We were just up there to the reunion, and that wears me out. But it's so much fun because traveling the country the way we do, I got spread out all over the country. But how do you go to have lunch with someone in Boston? So I see them all up there, and it's just great.
Well, the answer is you drive to Boston.
Not.
Well, I'm going to drive out to Las Vegas this Friday because I'm going to be at a new deal called SEMA Ignited. That's Friday the 7th. It's open to the public. That's right. If you can't make the SEMA show, you are open to come on out, see us. There's going to be a ton of cars, activities, pinstripers, build-offs, booths. It's going to be amazing. So Google SEMA Ignited, get all the info, and come out and see me. I will be at Las Vegas.
The NHR final race will be at Pomona, November 13th through the 16th. Go to nhr.com for more info and tickets. And hey, if you want to see Tommy Ivo, make sure you don't miss that event.
Yeah, that'll be on the 15th at the museum. They're going to have that gathering with all the dignitaries, such as Tommy. So come on out to that. There are still tables available.
Great.
So you could go to that's the same time as the race, right?
It is in the evening.
So you could take a tram, maybe go to the race, tram over to the museum.
Well, actually, the event that Tommy's going to be part of is going to be in the evening on the 15th at the museum.
Oh, probably after the race.
Yes.
Oh, that'll be great. Well, we mentioned November 29th, Match Race Madness at Verona. It's heads up, 2 out of 3, with me taking on a pair of the best racers in Southern California, Wilson Racing. It's going to be the Red Nova versus the Purple Nova. I'm going to be going home. I'm going to be cutting out the sides of my trailers. I'm going to be putting in window glass.
God.
Boy, is Diana-mite going to be pissed when her
That's
windows
right.
are missing glass.
Yes, she is. Next year, the March meet at Bakersfield. You can go online right now to thefote.com. You can get your racer tickets. You can get your spectator tickets. You can get everything you need online. But you will need to go to thefote.com. Oh, did I mention crew passes? Yep. Go to thefote.com and get that.
And Tommy?
Tommy.
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to mention they have completely rebuilt that museum down there. It's spectacular. So that weekend is the opening of the museum. They're having a big dinner down there on Saturday night that, of course, all us old folks will be too as well.
Oh, great.
Now, will there be any of your cars, like maybe a life-size version of this car right here, Bruce?
The
Will there be
motor?
any of your cars in the museum on display?
We're going to have, yes, they have my original Roadster that I built when I was
Wow.
19. But, of course, we're going to have the trailer race car combination sitting right out in front of the museum on Saturday
That's going to be
night.
great.
I'll light it up.
Yep.
And Bob, you
Yep.
will be there as well?
I'll be there on Saturday. I'm going to be there tomorrow because tomorrow's the Twilight Cruise at the NHRA Museum, so I'll be out for that as well. But yes, on the 15th, definitely be there.
Great.
Awesome. Well, and Bruce, we will see you right here next week with Randy and Mo Wilson. And Tommy, I want to thank you. You've been a great guest. I want to thank Curry, Hedman, and Aeromotive for allowing us to go commercial-free because we could do 3 more hours with you.
I'm full of hot air, ain't I? A lot of fun. Thanks so much for having me on.
We appreciate it. Tom.
Hot Rod Bob, we'll
Yes.
see you again next time.
Definitely be back
And
next week.
Next time it won't be so blue, too.
No, yeah, I won't be. I'm a Smurf.
Yeah, it's.
Da-da-da-da.
A little leftover from Halloween, huh?
Oh, man. See, I'm the last of these images of Tommy's car. This is. Holy cow.
Oh, well, let me tell you, that's about the time I closed my eyes there.
Yeah.
But you walked away. This wasn't where you got hurt.
Oh, well, that's the trick. Yeah, no, I didn't get a scratch out of this thing. It backed into the guardrail. You know, those steel guardrails just tore it apart. But that's the trick. Don't get hurt. Then it takes the fun out of the deal.
You know, but this you survived, but a little bump on the road just happened to catch you at just that right angle. It's amazing.
Isn't it?
Huh?
Just amazing.
All right, everybody, we are so out of time, but you know what? The time just keeps on ticking for you if you want to watch the encore presentation of tonight's show, because that's coming up next right here at Speed Scene Live. Have a great week and a great weekend coming up, and we'll talk to you again right here next week at SpeedSceneLive.com.
Speed Scene Live TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and thefote.com.